What is going on, YouTube world? We are KRT LYFE, KRT LYFE with the Y. Like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. I'm your brother Reza. This is your beautiful sister Kat. Today we are out here wrenching in the parking deck again, and it's a beautiful day, and it's so beautiful that we really want to get on doing some other stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and do this job really quick. We're gonna change the serpentine belt and the oil on my 2007 997.1, and yeah, go do some other fun things today. So Sister Kat is on the camera. We're gonna make this quick and painless and to the point. So let's go. Today's tools of the trade are as goes. We have our parts, we have our serpentine belt right here, we have our Porsche oil filter, we have a whole bunch of oil over there, 9 quarts or actually 10 quarts. We have our oil removal tools that we're going to use, you know, use your flavor or whatever poison you like. We have our multi-bit screwdriver, which we're going to use to take the airbox off when we're installing the serpentine belt. We got sockets. We have a 15/16, which I think is what I need to so I can move the tensioner arm or tensioner pulley on the for the serpentine belt. And we have a 5/16 to get the oil drain plug out, and a breaker bar. And we're going to also be using other various kind of sockets and extensions, but they're very minor things that you should have anyway if you're doing this job. And then we also have our oil catch and yeah, our funnel and keys to the car. Pretty basic stuff. So that's pretty much everything we're going to be using for today's job. So let's jump into it. First thing we're going to do to get the serpentine belt in is remove this airbox. So we're going to start off by releasing this clamp. It's the mass airflow sensor, mass airflow sensor electrical connection, and yeah, then this thing pretty much pulls out. So we're going to go ahead and pull it out right now. So as you can see, it took me literally seconds to remove the airbox, and now I'm about to place it to the side. I probably should have bought a filter as well since I got the box out, but I mean, it doesn't take very long to change the air filter. So now I'm about to go ahead and move on to the serpentine belt. So here is my serpentine belt right now. Before you pull this out, you want to make close attention. You want to pay close attention to the way that these belts are routed in your actual through your pulleys or whatever, because you want to make sure that you put it back in the same way. And then taking this thing out, this is your tensioner right here that actually can swing and move, that puts actual tension on the belt and keeps it in place. So you're going to connect the socket to this, press it down, and it's going to release the belt, and you'll be able to pull the belt off and then install the new belt. But this belt is actually in really good condition. But when I had the PPI done, they were like, well, you can change the belt, because knock on wood, nothing was really wrong with this car except for the strut towers. So I mean, I'm going to change the belt anyway, just because we said we're going to do it in the video, but there's nothing really wrong with this belt. So yeah, that's that. All right, so unfortunately we had one thing go wrong. The actual oil field pipe, it actually like broke across the top where the solid part connects to the flexible part. So we had to improvise real quick, and we used some epoxy and some of this flexible ducting tape to temporarily hold it together till we get a new part in and we can change this part out. But I've done this before, and it pretty much holds pretty good, and I can probably ride like this forever, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually get the part and fix it. So now we're going to move forward with changing the serpentine belt out. All right, so now I have my 15/16 socket connected to my tensioner pulley right here. And when you press down on this, you're going to see that it's going to loosen this belt. You got to put a lot of pressure on it, but when you do that, you can pull the belt off. So like I said, remember your belt routing before you take this off, and you can Google it and find it in case you don't take a picture of it. But now I'm going to go ahead and take the belt off. And once you do that, you pretty much can just go through here and pull it off. Just like that. One little spot where the pulley, there it goes. And voila, there you have it. Old belt is off, and like I said, I mean, you can zoom in on this. This belt is in perfectly good condition. Like, I mean, really, there is no point taking it off. And this is an original Porsche belt. So there you go.
Now put it back on and we'll return the old one.
Exactly. So we got the new belt on, even though the old belt wasn't even bad. All I got to do now is put a little bit of tension on my tensioner and stretch my belt across this other pulley, and that'll be done, and we can move on to the oil. So losing my hat. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the oil before anything else goes crazy. All right, so now you want to verify that your belt is on all of the pulleys, and you also want to verify that all of your all the grooves are where the grooves need to be, and nothing's like, you know, done like this or crisscross. And make sure that everything is aligned before you crank it, because if you crank it with the belt crooked, you could possibly break the belt, and then that kind of defeats the whole purpose of doing this. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the airbox back on, and then crank it on up and see what the results are. Should be pretty cool though. Can't imagine it not being cool. All right, my airbox is in, is connected to the intake. I have my mass airflow sensor reconnected, and my cable, what are these things called? Cable huggers? Cable halters. I installed some new cable halters. So now my cables are halted. And yeah, so I can go ahead and crank this thing up and see how she runs now that she has a new Serpentine belt on her. She should be happy, I hope. Let's go. Let me crank it. All right, so as you saw, changing the Serpentine belt on a 997 is actually pretty darn simple. Just be kind of careful for your oil filling tube. Mine cracked in the middle of this process, so I had to kind of do some makeshift stuff to, you know, make it operable until I get the new part. But other than that, it was pretty straightforward. So now we're going to move on to the changing of the oil. Now, changing the oil is also very, very simple. Please don't let anything break. And should I do this with the car on ramps, or should I do it with the car on the ground? Because you can do it both ways. You don't have to jack the car up to change the oil.
Well, we're trying to film it, so probably put it on the ramp so we can maybe see better to show some more details. The wife has spoken. We're going to put this thing on the ramps, and then we're going to drain the oil out. And yeah, I'm going to show you how to do this. Okay, so changing the oil on a 997 or 996 is actually relatively easy. It takes a, what is this thing called? A 5/16 bit like this to go up in here and get that loose. And then you can use your little handy dandy oil cap remover tool to get this on here and turn this off. And you really don't even have to lift the car up to do this, but it just makes it easier for us to film. So that's why we're doing it this way. So now I'm gonna go ahead and drain this oil out and yeah, change the filter and fill it back up. Alrighty, so the oil is pretty much almost done draining. I'm gonna just clean out the little drain hole, and I'm gonna replace the old metal washer with the new metal washer and torque it down to 37 foot-pounds of torque. Can you tell the difference between the old one and the new one? But it says you need a new one, so I'm gonna put a new one on. I got my snazzy torque wrench set to 37 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm going to torque my drain plug real quick, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove the filter element and reinstall. Put some oil in, and we should be Gucci to Gucci. So my oil filter element is out. Well, change out. What am I even talking about? I don't even know anymore. My oil filter element is changed. I've torqued my drain plug to 37 foot-pounds of torque. Now I'm gonna do is change my O-ring on my oil filter casing, I guess is the name of this part, and tighten this back on and fill this thing up with some oil and make sure we don't have any leaks.
right, so all that's done. So now the last thing we're gonna do is fill up the car with oil. And yes, you are reading that right. That says Amazon Basics 0W40. Now the reason I'm using this is because there's a guy on YouTube, and his YouTube channel is called Project Farm. Definitely you should check him out. And he compares Amazon synthetic oil and just all types of oils to each other and does all these really cool experiments with them. And he compared this to liquid moly, and this even beat liquid moly. So I figure, you know, why not? It's 0W40, it's approved. Let's try it, let's see what it does. I know it's not gonna do anything crazy, I hope. So this is 5 quarts. This thing takes 9 quarts. So I'm gonna put this 5 quarts in, and then we're gonna put, you know, a little bit more in. And also the filter medium is going to saturate with some of the oil. So we're gonna put probably about 9.5 quarts of oil in here, but we're gonna measure and see. Oil level is full, so I can officially say this job is done. It has a new serpentine belt and new oil, new filter element on our 2007 Porsche 997. So this thing is good to go. This is just PMI. I mean, everything on this car is pretty much in really good condition. But you know, just do your annual maintenance, and hopefully you won't have problems down the road. So this is KRT LYFE, KRT LYFE with the Y. Like, subscribe, comment, all that cool stuff. And on these Porsche cars, doing stuff like that is super easy. I mean, yeah, us taking our time, it still only took like maybe an hour and some change. So yeah, go ahead and knock it out. All right, y'all. Peace.